John Charles,
Yes, Your Honor.
how long you been licensed?
1994.
So that's 26.
26 glorious years.
That's well, make that 27, right?
I'm going almost.
Yeah.
Actually, now it is 27 because it was July, so we're almost 27.
You're almost there. All right. Okay, Ms. Hernandez,
Yes, Judge.
would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You may put your hand down. Ms. Hernandez, before we proceed, I have to tell you that I'm going to discuss with you and remind you that there are important rights and constitutional protections that I will discuss with you verbally. They will be placed on an official record by a court reporter. And then you will find as we go through the paperwork, some will be repeated 2 or 3 times in writing. They include, first of all, the right to remain silent. That means that you do not have to make any kind of statement. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit written paperwork, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. You understand you have the right to remain silent.
Yes, Judge.
You have the right to a jury trial. That means that you and your attorney and the state's attorneys would select 6 people from a random pool of jurors, and those 6 people could hear the evidence, testimony, look at the materials, and decide whether you're guilty or not guilty if you wanted a jury trial. You understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right, it's called, in lawyer words, confrontational witnesses. What that means generally is that you and your attorney could question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness that will testify if you went to trial. You understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's a right called the right to appeal. After all the dust settles and everything's over, you and your attorney, either individually or together, could demand that a higher court review the official record, the evidence, materials, the results of this proceeding or any proceeding. You understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just to be real clear, that demand would have to be in the proper form and within the right time limits, okay? Now, you also have you and the state individually, so there's 2 different groups that have the right to have this matter in an open public courtroom. Because of the pandemic, we're not doing that. We're doing it by video conference, but you still have that right and you could demand it even now. However, you and the state apparently have agreed to do this by video conference. So these rights that I just talked about, those rights you give up if you pursue or persist in a plea. Is that understood, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now I'm going to share with you some documents. All of these documents are going to have basically, with one exception, they're going to have identifying information at the top. That information you'll see above on the top part here, it says cause number 636217, the state of Texas versus Natalie Hernandez in the County Court of Law number 5, Bexar County, Texas. Then the title of the document will be in all capitals, bold print. This one says state's consent to video conference. I told you a while ago that the state, you and the state have the right to demand an open public courtroom for this proceeding. This is where the state has signed through Ms. Caitlin C. Morgan the agreement to do video conference. Do you understand that? You see that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review all these documents with your attorney?
Yes, we spoke.
All right. Now, the next document I'm showing you is called a discovery document. This one has again, the identifying information, same thing as a while ago. This is called discovery acknowledgement. Okay, what you got here is there's a law called Article 39.14, the Code of Criminal Procedure. This one requires the state to make available to you or provide to you all the information, documents, receipts, videotapes, whatever there is that's material and evidentiary, so that you and your attorney can make an informed and intelligent decision. Did you see and review this document?
Yes.
And you and your attorney signed it, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, now, the next document, again, repeating the identifying information. This one in particular is yours. This is where you say, yes, I agree to a video conference, and it is signed by you and your attorney, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now, this is a particularly important document. This one here is, again, the identifying information is repeated. This one's titled Defendants Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It starts off with 3 sentences individually, and then it says there, the second sentence says, I understand that this cause I'm charged with the following offense, DWI second. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
The third sentence is you hereby, it says you hereby enter a plea of nolo contendere to the charge of DWI second. Is that true? Is that what you're going to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, Ms. Hernandez, the rest of this document is divided into 15 numbered sections or divisions. Each one has a number. The very first one shows what the range of punishment is for the offense you're talking about. This one has a stack of little boxes, vertical stack. Next to each one is a particular charge or a punishment for that charge. This one has a check mark. Did you see where that check mark is?
Yes, Your Honor.
What does it say? Read the whole thing there.
DWI second, 0 to 4,000 fine and 30 days to 1 year in jail.
That's pretty serious stuff, huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, number 2 talks about the right to a jury trial, cross-examination of witnesses. And again, this one repeats in writing, right to remain silent. So have you ever taken or been given medication for mental health issues?
No, sir.
All right. And have you in any way ever been involved with a sex offender registration program?
No, sir.
Where were you born, ma'am?
San Antonio.
All right. The documents, this particular one will show that you are a United States citizen. One thing I want to remind you about is that the deal that you have made with the help of Mr. Bunk, I do not have to accept that deal. I do have to decide whether I'll okay it or not. That is part of my duty. Now, if I don't accept it, or if I give you a punishment that's heavier than what you actually agreed to, in either one of those 2 cases, the law would allow you to start all over again. You know that and understand that, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And all of this document, you and Mr. Bunk reviewed it, and you and he signed it, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will be signing it too. This next document in front of you, again, the identifying information. This one is my declaration or certification to you that because this is a plea bargain case, you have no right of appeal. I'm going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th little box there. It says exactly that. This is my certification to you. This is a plea bargain case, and the defendant has no right of appeal. You reviewed that document and you understand it and signed it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to reload this, and we're going to go to the plea bargain document. Gotta get rid of this one here. All right. This one is called. Where's the? This document now is called the plea agreement. It is it has a little bit different identifying information in that it has your name and the case number, but it doesn't show County Court 5. Now, the first two boxes there I will have checked. The first one, guess what it talks about again? The right to remain silent, and that you don't have to submit documents. The second box is going to be marked because you are a U.S. citizen and the paperwork will reflect that. Then we have a section there that says Defendants Acknowledgements. There's 5 boxes that are checked. Each one of them talks about rights and protections that are afforded to you or given to you by law, and that you know and understand, you have reviewed them and understood them. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, the state is proceeding with a DWI second. Is that correct, Ms. Morgan?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Hernandez, to the charge of DWI second, how do you officially plead here and now?
Guilty. Oh, no contest.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
The paperwork says you're pleading no contest. There is a little bit of a difference. Now, the court takes this as a guilty plea, a nolo contendere, but there is a distinction that Mr. Bunk is using to protect you some, okay?
Okay.
Now, I am ordering you to appear in the offices of County Court at Law number 5. It's in a hallway behind the County Court number 5 on the 4th floor of the Justice Center. You have to submit or allow the placement of your thumbprint on the documents that are required by law. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Now, based on your plea and the evidence, I find that you are guilty of DWI second. You are sentenced to 30 days Bexar County Jail, a fine of $0 in court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrently. Ms. Morgan, am I to observe that she has fulfilled this punishment?
No, Your Honor, she is not.
What does she owe? Do you know?
I believe she is going to just do 30 days in jail. I don't think it's not going to be a JSAT.
Okay.
She has some credit, Judge. She does not have that much credit.
All right. Now,
I have some things to discuss on how possible ways she can serve the 30 days when the court's prepared to hear that discussion.
all right. I do want to hear more about her history and background if you will
Absolutely.
present it to me.
I'm happy to tell you that.
All right. You may do so at this time.
Okay, Judge. Ms. Hernandez, when she picked up this offense, she was on felony deferred adjudication. So obviously the first thing she had to address was the felony court and this alleged violation. She pled true to this violation in the 175th District Court. The Honorable Judge Kathy Torres Stahl, much like yourself, had a very long discussion with Natalie, and this was almost 2 years ago now. It was decided at that time, after discussing with my client, she would not be revoked because Natalie had asked the court if the court would allow her on her own to turn herself into Alpha House. And the court said yes, and Natalie did that. And Natalie successfully completed 90 days inpatient treatment. And this was on her request. Upon the completion of that 90 days, the judge in the 175th District Court denied the motion to revoke her probation and kept her on deferred adjudication, and she is still on the deferred adjudication. Most importantly, Natalie just reminded me of this because I've represented Natalie from back when it first started. Tomorrow marks her 1 year sober anniversary. And I think, you know, for a young woman of her age to have realized she had a problem, address that problem on her own, and most importantly, stick with it for a year tomorrow, I think that speaks volumes of her character and her commitment to this sobriety. The number one driving factor for that is she has a young son. She's a single mother with a young son. I think he's 9 or 10 or
8.
He's 8. My bad. He's 8 years old. She's the sole provider. So she lives here in town with her son. And, you know, I'm proud of Natalie for what I've known Natalie. I knew she had a problem then, and we convinced her of it, and she's fixed it. And I'm so proud of her for her son and for her own sake. And I know she'd like to address the court and tell the court how much she appreciates the opportunity, you know, to address you.
Yes, actually, I just want to say that I'm really grateful because I really did needed rehab, to be honest. I didn't really know at the time how much I really did need it, but I'm thankful to God that, you know, I went through that and I was able to learn from it. And tomorrow I'll be celebrating my 1 year, you know, anniversary sober, which is something that I didn't even think I was able to do. But you know, I'm doing better for myself. I'm in school to become a radiology tech, and I've been able to maintain a 3.5 GPA, which is crazy to me. I'm able to be like there for my son. I'm not just hung over on the couch. I'm able to be with him and be that mother that I've always wanted to be. And I just want to say, just thank you again for hearing me out.
So that's what we have, Judge. When we made this deal, it's been over a year ago that we reached this plea bargain through Jamisa Jarman and Mr. Edelman. She does not have the 30 days. I wish she did, but she doesn't. She has, I believe, 5 or 6 days total. If the court would consider allowing her to serve this time on the monitor, if that's something the court would consider, she would certainly appreciate that. But in the alternative, she understands, you know, she's accepting responsibility, and most importantly, she just wants to get this done. She wants to, you know, she's nervous every day about this. She wants it behind her. And that's what I have, Judge. I do believe, and I'm sincere when I tell you, she's very sincere when she told you what she did. And I have seen a tremendous difference in this young woman, and I'm proud of her. I'm proud to call her my friend. I'm proud to have helped her down this path. And I think she's got great things in front of her. So that's all I have, Judge.
Ms. Hernandez,
Yes, Judge.
what would be the worst thing that could ever happen to you in your life?
Probably hurt my son because of my action.
Wow, that was a quick answer. And it's exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah, it's something that I think about a lot now. I mean, it's just the selfishness of me. Back when I was using, like, I didn't think of him or anybody else. Like, I worked my steps, and our 4th step up through AA is, you know, just writing down all the things, you know, that you've done wrong in your past. And just so I've come to realize a lot, and I would say that would probably be the worst. Probably, I mean, worst case scenario, I could have killed my son or somebody else.
Well, the second worst thing is to kill somebody else, yes. But the very worst thing is that you could kill your own son. And it still can happen. You know, you've got a battle to stay sober.
Yeah, it's a battle every day, but it gets easier. It gets easier once I start, when I started seeing all the benefits of me being sober and how capable I am. And I hadn't had no drive before. Like I felt like I wasn't driven.
Where's your son's father? What does he do?
He actually just recently got out of prison. So he's kind of like just, I don't know. I don't really associate myself with him much.
Okay, so is he in any way helping you support that little guy?
Not at the moment. He just came out.
Okay. Are you working right now? Do you have an income?
Well, I work with my dad once in a while. He has a business here, and sometimes I'll run. Because since I go to, I was going to school right now. I took off because of summer, and I was thinking like,
My question really comes down to this. I'm very seriously thinking of putting you on a monitor and give you house arrest with the exception of school, church, and necessities. But how can you afford that?
I mean, I have my father that I work with. That my parents are really the ones that try to help me out. I mean, once I got in school, I had like their full support, and they know I've been doing good. So that's really who I really rely on.
All right. Two things. First, I find that you're indigent. Therefore, the $5,000 fine that the state, in its genius, has placed on people that have been convicted of DWIs before. The second one is about a $5,000 fine, if I'm not mistaken. But I find that you are indigent and could not afford to pay that fine. Secondly, you're going to continue that. What kind of program are you on now?
I just go to my AA meetings. That's pretty much, I mean, on my own, it's not really requested, but I still stick with my home group in Alpha Home.
Okay. All right, I'm going to sentence you to 30 days, but you will do 30 actual days on monitor. You'll be restricted to your home with the exception of school, employment, church, and necessities.
Judge, will she be allowed to visit my office as needed? I'm helping her with some paperwork to try to work out the relationship between the boy and his father.
That's I consider that a necessity. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Flores, if you'll make sure that that is incorporated in the papers.
Yes, Judge.
Okie doke. Ms. Hernandez, I wish you well. I hope you never see the tragedy of what we were talking about, but it happens, so you be extra careful. Your little guy has probably seen a lot more than he should have, especially at his age. I hope that he can, children will always emulate or follow what they see and hear in their own homes. You see little guys that walk almost exactly the way their father walks or says things and does things that the mother and father both do. So bottom line is the kind of life he's going to have depends upon the love and caring you give him and the example, good or bad, that you give him. I hope you keep that in mind. It appears that you've headed in the right direction. Stay on that direction. If not for yourself, then for your own little guy. All right, Charles, as always, you've done a good job. You've taken care of your client.
She made it easier. She did the hard part.
I understand. All right, this will. Any questions from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Questions from Mr. Bunk?
No, Judge.
All right, then that'll conclude this particular